So there was a time back in the Old Testament where Solomon had built the temple, and this was just one of the wonders of the world, this temple. He had so much silver that it was concrete. He had so much gold, he didn't know what to do with it. And so his father David, King David, was able to help get the supplies and the money, the loot, the gold ready for the building of the temple. Because David had blood on his hands, God said, "You're not going to build me my house." And so his son Solomon was able to build this temple. And it's at the stages where they're kind of wrapping it up, and they're going to bring the Ark of the Covenant into the house of God, into the Holy of Holies. In there you have the 10 Commandments, the 2 tablets that Moses would be given by God. Finger of God writes these on these tablets, right? And they were in the Ark of the Covenant. So remember, there's 2 arks in the Bible. There's the big Noah's Ark. That's the big ship. That's not what we're talking about, where all the animals went 2 by 2. But the little Ark of the Covenant, however big it was, I don't know. It was, so big, I don't know. Right? An ark that sat, and that's where the presence of God dwelt. The presence of God, the Shekinah of God, the Shabbat, the glory of the Lord. And so that would be placed inside of the Holy of Holies, where only one man once a year would be able to come in and experience the presence of God. But in the midst of that, in preparation, they're building it, they have to get it in there, right? And so Solomon is commissioned to take care of that, and everybody is united. Let me read it to you. It's out of 2 Chronicles chapter 5. Let me pick it up. It's 1 through 13, but let me read you starting at verse 11. And it came to pass when the priests, was that it? Yeah. And it came to pass when the priests came out of the most holy place, for all the priests who were present and sanctified themselves without keeping to their divisions. And the Levites, who were the singers, so the worship team, all those of Asaph and Heman and Jeduthun, with their sons and their brethren, stood at the east end of the altar, clothed in white linen, having cymbals, stringed instruments, and harps, and with them 120 priests sounding with trumpets. Indeed, it came to pass when the trumpeters and singers were as one, to make one sound to be heard in praising and thanking the Lord. And when they lifted up their voice with the trumpets and cymbals and instruments of music and praised the Lord, saying, "For he is good, for his mercy endures forever," that the house of the Lord was filled with a cloud, so that the priests could not continue ministering because of the cloud, for the glory of the Lord filled the house of God. What an awesome scene where God's glory falls, and these guys are just so taken back. We want to keep ministering. We want to keep doing this, but we just can't. The glory of the Lord is too much. Guys, it's what we live for. We live for the glory of God. We live to experience the glory of God. Every fake, false thing we do, chasing, drugs, sexcapades, this high, this amount of money, this thing, everything is a pursuit of the glory of God. And nothing will fill us. Nothing will satisfy us. Nothing will satiate the hunger and the thirst that we have deep, deep, deep within us, but the glory of God. And it doesn't mean that we can't experience all of those other good things in life. But as we chase those things, we kind of like been there, done that, bought the t-shirt, right? Right? I mean, that was a good experience. Like, how many good meals can you eat? One at a time. I mean, I try to eat as many as I can, but I can only eat one at a time, right? So we chase these things.